Hey folks, just having a look at this, the Zwift power results of a race I did yesterday. Super long race by Zwift standards. It took me an hour and a half, took the winner of the Ds here, 2 hours 20. I'm really excited about this race because two key things happened which I think are good to learn from, good to think about. So I don't have to make a long video at all. I'm just going to show you those two key things and give you a little bit of context. The EVR America's weekend race took place over the road to Ruins, 2 laps. That's kind of like the jungle loop and kind of the in-town Italian villas loop as well. Let's get straight into it and see what happened. So I managed to stay in the front group after the start, and it hit pretty hard for such a long race. And I just really struggled on the first climbing section here, and so we're in the process of watching me get dropped, and a number of Bs are going off down the road in front of me, and I get stuck here a little bit in no man's land. The lead group ends up making over a minute on me, and what happens next is I think I get caught by a C rider who's on a time trial bike. I spent a bit of time with him. I'm not sure I get drafting benefit off of the back of a time trial bike, but I spent a bit of time with him and get a lot of recovery from him in the first lap, but all the while I'm kind of getting caught by some of the other folks behind me. So I'm going to fast forward and show you what happens next. So here I am getting caught by 2 chasers, a B rider and a C rider. I've had quite an easy half lap, aside from getting dropped at the beginning. I've had quite an easy half lap so far because I've spent some time with the time trialist I mentioned earlier. In the end, I didn't feel like we were going quick enough. I don't need that much recovery, so I was out there by myself, and these guys caught up to me. You can see that the sort of primary A group ahead of us is a minute 40, a minute 50 ahead. So kind of hoping that these guys work well to the week. All 3 of us can work really well together. I'm definitely shouting at my TV, come on guys, let's go, and hoping we can be smooth and each take our turn at the front. So 3 of us are doing okay together, but we're not really pulling away from the guys behind us, and certainly that lead group is now 4 minutes ahead. So we're doing okay, but I'm wondering at some point if I just want to kind of get ahead of these if I can, or try and break these 2 guys up, split them up, and then work with one of them. If you look on the right hand side of the screen, look at the names here. Right now, T-Massa's power drops to 0, and I just bury myself and get going on the sprint. Something happened to him, maybe through his chain, maybe his connection dropped, something like that, but something happened to him, and I knew at that point that I absolutely had to go and capitalize on the situation. A little bit early, still 17 miles out, but I had to go for it and go it alone. I had previously tried a few times to shake the guys up. They're both really strong. I just didn't feel like the 3 of us were that motivated, and I was really worried about ultimately getting caught by the group behind us. So as soon as I saw that opportunity, I just happened to be looking on the right hand side. I just went for it, and I was basically screaming at TL to just stay on and keep up, because I need him, I want him with me, so that we can work together to kind of break T-Massa and get on with the race. And that's actually what happens. TI stays with me, he does a really good job, and then he comes around and takes a pull and gives me a little bit of recovery, and I think Mr. T-Massa knows that he's been beat and ends up giving us thumbs up, and we give him thumbs up, and the race carries on. And there aren't many things in real bike racing where when A happens, you must do B, but this is one of them. If you're in a situation where you're looking to get free or sprint, and somebody, for example, looks over the wrong shoulder and you're on the other side of them, every time, you don't even think about it, you stand up and you sprint, because that split second can win the race for you. That's what I've been taught, that's what I've done in all of my races when I've had an opportunity, and that's what happened here today. It's the equivalent of looking over the wrong shoulder. I mean, I feel bad if the guy had a real mechanical, sort of, but not really. That was my opportunity and I took it. So that was the first big move of the race for me. I really wasn't looking forward to being out there by myself, but I didn't have much of a choice but to make that move, and I'm glad that I didn't have to be riding by myself. TI looks pretty strong. I think we can work well together. If I had have been by myself, I would be chasing a bunch of A riders who are 2.5 to 3 minutes ahead of me, and that would not have been fun for the rest of this pretty long race. T Massa ends up just dropping out. I think he just drops out of the race, and that's the thing about longer Zwift races, which is obviously unlike real races, is that things happen. People leave, people drop their chains, people have to go and do something else. They might just see it as more of a training ride that they never really intended on finishing in the first place. And so just a word of encouragement on a longer race, just stay in it. I got dropped very, very early on in this race, and there's still a long way to go. Half of those A's may drop out, and I think there are a couple of B's further down the road. But if they do finish, there's a chance they'll get kind of disqualified from the Zwift power results if they're either not wearing a heart rate monitor or if their watts per kilo is just too high. But there's a chance that they won't finish, and obviously there's always a group of people who are not signed up for Zwift power and their results don't go there. So just keep trying and see what happens. So here I am, just coming into the last half mile of the race. Basically, I've managed to stay away while the guys behind me have been relatively well organised. I think there's a group of 3 guys, including TL, who have been trying pretty hard, and I think one of them, the American on the right there, has managed to break away further from that group and put down a bit of a chase. But I've managed to stay away, and it's just such a great feeling when you commit yourself like that, because the alternative is that you get caught before the finish line and then you're totally shot and you can't compete at all. The guys will just ride straight by you if you've put in an effort like that. So really great feeling to have both of those moves pay off in this race. Just going to cruise over the lights so I can see the results. Yeah, so as I suspected, there was one B who was further down the road than me. I guess he stayed with that lead group all along, and they ended up in a sprint situation. He actually made fewer watts than me. I guess he probably weighs less. But he didn't. I noticed there that he didn't have any heart rate monitor readings, so he's probably not going to make it onto the Zwift power results. So I guess I've won the B sort of on a technicality, but also just super happy that those 2 moves paid off. Really, really good race. Yeah, happy with it. Hopefully you guys learned something, and thanks so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. If you've learned something, let me know. If I can make this better, let me know. Thanks. Bye.